big shout out quickly to Pizza Express. By the way, I've just had a Buddha bowl, and I'm not a big Buddha bowl guy. However, it was we had a beetroot. I'm not a big beetroot fan. That was nice. Some sesame seeds, some pumpkin seeds. There might have been a bit of couscous. The salad was good. The rocket, nice and fresh. Um, the goat's cheese, a bit strong for me. I wouldn't mind a bit of halloumi, but things tend to get a bit pricey when you start adding halloumi to the table, right? But the dough balls were pretty good as well. But I have recently got back into reading, and I used to love reading. Before I started the business, I used to read, and I'd use loads of personal development books, and I'd read books, biographies, autobiographies about successful businessmen. And as the years went by in business, I stopped reading. Other things took over, and I didn't have that passion for, it's a weird drive that you have when you first start a business and you're in startup stage. You have so much energy. It's like being a child, and you have great energy, and there's so much time and passion behind it, and it really led me to reading. And I'm not a big reader. Um, and the story's twofold actually, because the one stage is the book I'm reading, or I just finished reading, was Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect. I'm sure many people have heard of this and read it. Great book. I recommend that read if you are not just in business, if you're just looking to improve the way you live your life or understand a little bit more about how little things can make a really big difference over a long period of time. And one of the really interesting things that he mentioned is when we talk about anything, we're always looking at sacrificing and what to give up. For example, he mentioned diets. It's always about what we're giving up. And he said it's never about giving up. It's about what you're adding in that counts. And that really prompted me a lot of things about business and about personal life as well. And that's when I've come to places like today, this morning. Normally, I'd have had about 2 coffees by 12 o'clock. And I actually only had one decaf coffee. So I'm kind of mixing things up a little bit and not just throwing caffeine at the table. And along with that was, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Along with that came today having a little salad instead of a full blown not pepperoni, but a margarita pizza or anything like that. So it's really interesting, and now it's something I think about quite a lot. Is I'm kind of going, okay, so what are we adding, or what are we doing? How we're mixing things up, and I'm trying to do the same with business and trying to network not in the normal places that I used to network, because what got me to the first 3 to 4 years of business is not what's going to get me to the next 5 to 10. And I need to start compounding on the networking that works. I need to start thinking outside the box to find new clients in different places. It's not working where it was working before, and it's not going to take me to the levels I want to get to. So I need to think outside the box. I need to do something different. I do need to maybe make some sacrifices and stop networking in areas that are just taking my time. But I need to find a way to add to that funnel again. I need to find a way to bring in more business and the type of business I now desire as the business progresses. You also have, on the second part of this, when it comes to startups and scale-ups, I've recently discovered that there's something called a 5-year wall. Now, I've been through this 5-year wall 4 or 5 years, and I didn't know it was a thing until recently, and somebody talked about it. I made some decisions about 3 years into the business that compounded into negativity, compounded into stuff that wasn't working for me, compounded into stuff that wasn't sustainable, and I had to change my lifestyle. A lot of it involved pressure that I would put on myself, leading to chronic stress, leading to physical illnesses, and various other things going on that I won't go into too much detail about. But it's a mental wall I think many business owners allegedly are going through or go through when they get to about 4 or 5 year period, because it's not that you're not a startup anymore, but when you get to that stage, it's pretty clear that business isn't just selling sweets in the playground anymore. You're in a pretty serious business if you've got to that stage. Things are getting real. So now it's time for you to get real. And what happens in that stage is that the adrenaline and the energy and the fun and the rushing and landing these little deals and it meaning everything is no longer the case, because that £10, £20, £30 profit now needs to be 200, 300, if not more. And this was my issue. I didn't, I wasn't that excited about these little things anymore because I'd hit that wall. So I wasn't just going to networking events, getting excited about just having good conversations with people or landing a small deal here and there. It needs to be more, and it needs to be a little bit bigger. And it's just been really interesting to have that read. Sometimes I've had that book sitting there for years, and I've already read it once or twice. And I'm a firm believer that sometimes the right things just open up in front of you at the right time. And at this point, this book, The Compound Effect, opened up, and it different things hit home that wouldn't have hit home when I might have read that 3 years ago. And a quick tip here for the book readers and the people who are really interested in the progress and growth personally through books and the things that hit home today and tomorrow or in a year or two. What I do with my books, I have those little tabs that you get when you're like at uni that you put on the side of the book as a bit of a, not a bookmark, but it's a little sticker and it's color coded and you can write on it. I get one of those every year, every time I read a book, like The Compound Effect. And on the front page, I will tab a color, green, blue, red, whatever, and I'll put 2026, 2027, 2028, whatever. And then I know that each time, and then every time something just pops into my mind, every time something just triggers me, every time something hits home or there's a bit of a dangling of a carrot, I'll put a red tab or a green tab or whatever, and I'll just underline it with a pencil. And what happens is, as the years go by, I remind myself, and I come back, and there's a green tab in there, and I've underlined something, and I've gone, oh, I picked that up 2 years ago. Gosh, that's pretty good going for me. And it's really interesting because the book sort of grows with you, and you grow through this book. It's a really interesting one for it's great actually. I would definitely recommend it for my any book readers out there that like to read these kind of books. But yeah, it's never easy, and it's a constant growth journey. It's a constant journey, and there's a lot of things out there, and this is what happens when you're going to hit that 5 year block. You're going to have to change because you're not going to get excited about these little things anymore, but you need to find other little things to get excited about. And of course, a lot of us are here for not just to become multimillionaires or billionaires or anything. Some people might be. I'm here for the fulfillment element as well. I don't want to just be there and then everything else about me is dead and I'm soulless and I've got no one around me and I've got no friends and I've got no family. And I'm still, one of the great and interesting things that's come from the business is it's allowed me to explore my passions. Like art is my passion into, and I've got to try various different things. Clay shooting was one of them, and yeah, that was great. But then my shoulder hurt for about 3 days, so I'll probably never do that again. But various other things like, is it cars that my passion is at, and is it fashion? And this is one of the reasons we're at Culture Fashion Week this week, Culture Fashion Show. It's just exploring that passion through business to create business. And it's a weird, I guess I'm a big advocate for make your passion your work. Create something through your passion that you can maybe get an income from. Because it's what I mean, sometimes we're here for a while and we don't really constantly work and work and work and work and there's no passion. And then you're having to find your passion at the weekend. Why can't we have the passion through the week? Why can't we then just find a way to monetize that passion? And that's a lot of what I do with people. A lot of my creatives, especially in the fashion industry, they did just start as something, I might just try this or try that. We then have to strategize that and go, okay, cool, but how can we actually make this as an income for you?